Okay, I think we are live and streaming. I'm going to be doing an audio recording of this too, so let me just make sure everything is actually good to go. Okay, cool. Let me just move around and test, see if it's all good. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay. And this is a pretty good thumbnail if I do say so myself. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get the Audacity app here. And then we can start. Let's go. Gotta get in my mood here. Okay. All right. Yo, what is going on, guys? Membro here, back at it with another College Football Weekly podcast. And today, we have a really exciting weekend of football to go over. So yeah, let's get right into it here. We got the scores from the top 25. This was probably the most exciting week of college football we've had yet. We had top 10 matchups. We had top 10 teams go down. We had probably the game of the year between Alabama and Tennessee, which I'll definitely get into. It was overall really exciting week of college football. So actually, more than 3 teams went down. Now I forgot about Oklahoma State was beat by TCU. So that's Oklahoma State lost to TCU. Utah beat USC. It was ranked number 7. Penn State goes down to Michigan. And then Alabama went down to Tennessee. So, yeah, I actually I think I gotta fix the title here. I think, let's see, can I do that? Maybe not. Here, let's see. I'm gonna pause this and see if I can fix it. Thank you guys for blowing up the channel right now. I mean, I wouldn't say blowing up, but the top 4 shorts things are doing good. They're cool. 4 top 10 teams go down. Gotta change that up. Forgot about Oklahoma State. I wasn't really watching that one, just to be completely honest. Yeah. But here we go. Yeah. I wasn't really watching that one, to be completely honest. I think that was going on during the morning. Went a little more into the afternoon. I think I was watching other games and doing other things, but that one went into double overtime, really exciting. I didn't get to watch the morning games like Michigan and Penn State. At least it's morning for me. I mean, I guess if you're in the East Coast, it's already afternoon by the time that for me at least, the 9 a.m. games start. But Michigan blows out Penn State and makes a statement for sure. They blew them out by the end. By the second half, it was all Michigan. It was like 24-17. I think it was even 17-17 at one point. But Michigan, blew away and got away from Penn State there. Michigan is looking very good. For me, they're the number 2 team in the country. They are that good. They're looking dominant. And this was a huge statement win over a Penn State team that I think is still pretty good. they hadn't exactly been super tested until this game, and they showed their dominance. So yeah, so we can go from the start. Vanderbilt getting beat up by Georgia again. I think Georgia, they've looked a little shaky here and there, just kind of like Alabama, except they haven't had the test like Tennessee, put on Alabama. I think Georgia, they were able to get through their little, I guess you could say, test with Missouri. They were able to win it. Alabama, not so much. Obviously, though, Tennessee is a much better team than Missouri. This was such an exciting game. It was really up in the air, and it really did come down to the field goal kicking. Both teams were splendid on offense. Both teams were doing tremendous on offense. But they also had their mistakes. Alabama, multiple penalties. Tennessee, they were, turnovers to Alabama. Giving up the scoop and score, which was, that was poor. That was bad. But in the end, the kicking game won it. And Hendon Hooker was able to make that throw with 15 seconds left, make the huge throw, set up the field goal kick. And Tennessee beats Alabama for the first time in 20 years or something like that. Or at least 20 games. Something, huge streaks broken against Alabama. Tennessee is definitely a top 4 team to me. If we go here, let's go back to the video that I did. We can watch it. Just for fun. The quality might not be the best here. Let's see if we can change it. No, let's just speed. Maybe if I mute it, we'll... Yeah, so we have Tennessee number 4. I think Georgia's still in the top 4 for sure. They showed their dominance. But Ohio State, they didn't even have a game, but I still think they're the number 1 team. For sure, they've just dominated. They're passing the eye test. Still, to me, C.J. Stroud is the number 1 Heisman candidate. And maybe Hendon Hooker has moved into that number 2 spot and probably overthrown what I think would be maybe Bryce Young was in the number 2 spot, the reigning Heisman. But to me, you got to look at for maybe the top Heisman candidates. Maybe Stetson Bennett's in there, but C.J. Stroud, Hendon Hooker, and then a couple running backs, maybe like Blake Corum and Will Shipley for Clemson, and then maybe Stetson Bennett too. He's been having a pretty good campaign himself. Clemson, they were kind of pulling away, dominating early in this game, but in the fourth quarter, they allowed Florida State to come back. It ended up being a 34-28 game. This was one of those late games. Again, another one where Clemson pulls it out in a close one. I'm not as rewarding for Clemson with this one against Florida State. And the 3 losses now. They had a good early start, but really I don't know if they're that good. 4-3 now. And I think I would drop Clemson out of the top 4. Again, my top 4 would be Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan, for sure. Right there. Michigan, they were ranked 5. It'll be really interesting to see how the AP poll turns out, what people are thinking. And then USC goes down to Utah. In the early start of this one, it looked like USC might pull away, or that they had 2 straight, really 2 early touchdowns. But in the end, Utah was resilient, and it was really cool to see them get the win with the special uniforms on for their late teammates, Ty Jordan and Aaron Lowe. They retired that number 22 number, and they had these special jerseys. I could maybe look it up here for you guys. Oh, I was in this the whole time. Okay, well, that's fine. Here, let's look up those jerseys. forms, I guess you could say. Uniforms. Oh, it's just showing Utah Jazz. Well, you can you can see it on the thumbnail. That's fine. But sorry, here, let's switch to this. Okay. Yeah, Utah they go for the 2-point conversion. And Utah's, they're probably thinking, yeah, we already have 2 losses. We literally have nothing to lose here. And they go for 2. They get it with Cam Rising. I think Cam Rising's been like the best Utah quarterback in a long time. I think he's pretty darn good. Dalton Kincaid, he got injured in the game. I forget if he was able to come back or not, but that's pretty scary considering that they already lost their other tight end, Brent Keithy, and Cam Rising loves to go to his tight ends. But then again, TCU beats Oklahoma State. TCU definitely the front runners in the Big 12. Yeah, they looked really good. They got a dangerous offense, and they were able to come back. You see the box score here. 14 in the fourth quarter, similar to like what Florida State did. They were able to force it into overtime, double overtime actually, and they were able to get the win. TCU definitely moving into the top 10 after that. Ole Miss, they get away from Auburn. Auburn always a scary team, good test. Syracuse beats NC State, their best start in years, 6-0. Yeah, I can't wait for the showdown between Clemson and Syracuse. I think that could be a good one. Yeah. Then we got Kentucky beating Mississippi State. Again, the SEC is just a wild ride. I'm sad to see Kansas goes down to Oklahoma, and an Oklahoma team that really isn't even that good. And I don't even think you can put Oklahoma in the top 25 at this point, considering that there are so many other good 1-loss, 2-loss teams. Oklahoma's lost 3, obviously. So Kansas goes down. That's unfortunate. Texas is able to escape Iowa State. And going down the list, James Madison, first year in the FBS, but their first loss to Georgia Southern. They were in the top 25. They made it, but they lose Georgia Southern. And then Illinois having a pretty good year, 6-1. Kind of an under-the-radar team for sure. It'll be interesting if they can go out and maybe test a team like maybe Michigan. Let's see what Michigan's remaining schedule is. They do have Illinois by the end of the year. I believe that Ohio State already played Illinois, and I think they beat them pretty bad. Let's check. No, they didn't. Illinois lost to Indiana. Illinois doesn't have to play Ohio State. So if Illinois can pull off the upset against Michigan, which Michigan looks very good, Illinois could be sitting in the Big Ten championship. And I think they're in the West. The Big Ten West is darn good. It's darn good. I think it's a lot better than the East for sure. Kind of weird, but yeah. So with Utah beating USC, this is really interesting. I want to see how the Pac-12 race is looking. So let's go to that, and we can look at the other races like the SEC and the ACC, all of them. So they don't put it in divisions, but UCLA and Oregon are the top dogs. Oregon and UCLA, I don't think, or it's either UCLA that Oregon doesn't have to play, or USC or UCLA and Oregon play each other next week. That is going to be a big one. That is going to be really a decider of a lot of things in the Pac-12. And then obviously Utah and USC, and I guess they're ranking USC above Utah, but I think Utah deserves to be above USC because they just literally beat them. And then Utah lost to the Bruins like last week. Going through here, man, the Cardinal, rough for them, 0-4. But really, it's going to be a 3-horse race in the Pac-12 South. It's really cool to see the Pac-12. They're not all completely trashed this year. Yeah, I guess you could kind of break down for UCLA. It's simple. Just win out. You'll be in the Pac-12 championship and maybe in contention for the playoff as well. You go undefeated, run the table, Power 5 conference champion, 13-0. Yeah, you deserve to be in the playoff. For Oregon, obviously they have to win out. Had that loss against Georgia, but Oregon, I think it's definitely on the up and up. They had the loss against Georgia, which was a bad one, but they have been improving, and I think when it comes to the playoff committee, if they keep on this trajectory, I think the playoff committee will be kind to Oregon. I think. I mean, it will really depend on other teams surrounding them. And then for USC, it's not looking too good for USC, because even if USC beats UCLA, I think they're still not going to be able to be in the Pac-12 championship, because wouldn't that mean Utah would be in doubt? That would be a very confusing mix, because if you think everyone wins out and then USC and UCLA play each other, USC beats UCLA, who gets into the Pac-12 championship with that? They all have one loss and they were all losing to each other. Like UCLA beat Utah but then would lose to USC, and then USC beat UCLA but lost to Utah. Utah lost to UCLA but beat USC. That would be so confusing. I guess it would go for points for and against. And so far, looks like I think maybe UCLA they've got less points for. Man, USC and Utah are so similar, and it's fitting that game went down to 1 point. Wow. But for Oregon, this is Oregon's Pac-12 North to lose, and it's cool to see a 3-team race in the South. And yes, USC loses, but they looked very good against Utah. Utah just had incredible fight, and I think with UCLA hopefully on the up and up, definitely DTR is helping them out. He is a great quarterback, and then also the run game. Overall, the run game for UCLA has just been dominant. It's been very good. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Against the AP polls, we can see kind of who has the best strength of schedule, and really it's UCLA. They're 2-0 against AP teams. Yeah, USC had not played an AP-ranked team until Utah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go on over to another big shakeup in the SEC. Oh, they split it out this way for the SEC. So, again, Georgia and Tennessee, that matchup coming up is going to be the most important one. It could be even a better game than Alabama and Tennessee. Who knows? That will have huge implications for the playoff and who gets into the championship. Alabama falls down, and they're actually now behind Ole Miss, who is 3-0 in the conference. Ole Miss is still undefeated, so it will be interesting to see how the AP polls rank Alabama after, that's a good loss against Tennessee, because Tennessee, you look against the AP poll teams, they are 4-0. They probably have the best strength of schedule. They have played, Kentucky. They have played, I think, Florida. They played, obviously, Alabama. They've played a lot of good teams. For sure. They played Pitt when they were ranked, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So it'll all come down to that Georgia and Tennessee matchup. If we look, they play in 2 weeks. That will be a good one. That will be one to watch for. Game day should definitely maybe be there or something. I don't know. For Alabama, they still can win out, I believe. They have Ole Miss. They can run the table, get to the championship, and they can maybe make their way into the playoff. They're definitely not out of it yet. Again, but overall they have looked a little shaky. Arkansas, they were down until they were able to come back, and then Texas A&M, obviously, that was a real shaky one against Texas too, and then they lost to Tennessee. It finally let up in Knoxville. So I think the 2 biggest remaining matchups, besides obviously the SEC championship, will be Ole Miss and Alabama, and then Georgia and Tennessee. Me personally, I think it'd be interesting to see like Tennessee and Ole Miss in a SEC championship. Like, I think that'd just be really cool to see 2 different teams. Like, it's always Alabama and Georgia. You know, I mean, occasionally you'll sneak in like a Florida or maybe an Auburn or an LSU, but Tennessee and Ole Miss going to the SEC championship, that will be that'd be pretty interesting to see. Mississippi State, obviously, their loss to Kentucky does not help them. They've moved down to 5-2. Let's see for maybe like the Big 10 and then maybe the Big 12 afterwards. So, Illinois is in the West. I guess I was getting confused. The East is the one that's pretty stacked with Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Illinois, yeah. Purdue, they're there. Illinois has not played a single AP-ranked team, so that's a little concerning. I guess that's probably why they are only ranked 24, being just a one-loss team, 6-1 now. Purdue, they let's see when they play Illinois. Yeah, they play at Illinois in a few weeks. That'll be an interesting one. This is just all assuming that they all win out, which obviously that is definitely no guarantee. Penn State losing to Michigan badly, that really, I think, goes to show you something. Michigan, they, they look pretty darn good, and so does Ohio State. Those 2 teams, wow. They're like as good as ever, I think, really. And if both teams are able to win out, wow, would that be another great rivalry for Michigan and Ohio State. Let's go to the Big 12, and I think we'll move on to the next kind of topic. TCU now is the front runners, and Kansas State is actually number 2. They're 3-0 in the conference, and Oklahoma. Oklahoma 1-3. They finally got their first conference win against Kansas. Wow, you're not used to seeing teams like Baylor and Oklahoma down at the bottom. It's been a pretty wild year for sure, an exciting one. It's cool to see some new teams up at the top. So TCU definitely should be in the top 10. Texas is still hanging around. 5-2 now. Yeah. And then a 1-point loss to Alabama sure does look good too. Oklahoma State goes down. They lose to TCU. Maybe TCU will just take their spot. Yeah, maybe. So, moving over, let's switch over to. So I made a video a couple weeks ago about the 49ers quarterback problem, and that actually did, got some views. But anyway, right after that video, 49ers start winning, beat the Rams, beat the Panthers. Now the defense has been the best. Look, they if you go, let's switch over. They have not let up more than 15 points. Last week was the most points they had let up. Like that, or Yeah, because they lost to the Bears 19-10. But overall, their defense has been phenomenal. Jimmy G, I think he's just a guy that he's not gonna. I don't really think he's going to be like the hero of the game. I don't even think you can really rely on him to get your team to win if you're like in a shootout. But luckily for the 49ers, their defense is that good. They got out the Falcons today, and then they play the Chiefs at home though. They have to go to the Rams. They play the Rams pretty quick in succession. Be interesting to see how Jalen Ramsey and Deebo Samuel respond after all the drama. Yeah. So 49ers are, I think they're first in the NFC West. They're doing well. And I think if Jimmy G can just hang in there, try to limit the mistakes, make the right play, make the right read, you don't have to be, the hero or anything because his defense has been that good. They will have their biggest test against the Chiefs. The Chiefs come into Santa Clara in 2 weeks. Yeah. I think that will be all for this week. Sorry, last week I didn't make an episode. I just wasn't really feeling it last week. Actually, didn't make many edits, but we are back on the grind. And then thank you all for over 100 subscribers on YouTube. We finally got there. And if you are liking the podcast, make sure to rate it a 5-star review wherever you are listening, whether it be Apple, Spotify, whatever. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Peace.